Have you ever wondered how it's possible in the Olympics or any sports like that, that competition after competition, year after year, somehow world records, Olympic records keep getting shorter, or they keep beating previous records? How is that possible? I get it that in things like golf, technology has improved. There's a lot of sports where technology has helped tremendously. But when it comes to swimming, when it comes to running, when it comes to jumping, when it comes to those things where technology is not going to help you, how is it possible the athlete year after year, decade after decade, keeps getting is constantly able to beat previous records? I remember I was born in Vancouver, and we had statues out in front of what was called Empire Stadium. And it was where Roger Bannister was featured, because that is where he beat the 4-minute mile. And it was like the 4-minute mile was this barrier that nobody was able to beat. And then once he did it, it was like it was commonplace, and people were able to beat it over and over thereafter. I think it comes down to something called self-imposed limits. Self-imposed limits. We think that we have reached our ceiling and we stop pushing. We don't stretch beyond that which we think is possible. And sometimes in life, you need people who are impossible thinkers, who say, I am going to keep striving, I'm going to keep pushing, I'm going to keep pushing the boundaries, because we don't know where ultimately the boundary really is. And I'm not going to be limited by something that I impose on myself. Now, leaders, this is not an area where you can impose higher goals on other people and force them to achieve more. But you can, as a leader, act as a coach and help to develop potential and help somebody to become more of their best. So I encourage you today, if you're watching this as an individual and you feel limited, say to yourself, what if I were to push a little harder? Now, it's not that you're going to be able to do it all at once. In fact, it was fascinating to hear about the magician that was able to hold his breath underwater for more than 17 minutes. And he admitted that early on in the process, he couldn't do it very long, maybe half a minute or 40 seconds, and he was gasping for air. But then as he worked at it, and as he trained himself, and as he became better and better, but intentionally stretching, he was able to get to a point where he broke through a lot of his self-imposed limits and was able to push his capacity so much higher. So I encourage you to look at, what are you trying to accomplish? And don't hold yourself back. If you can only achieve this much today, figure out how tomorrow you achieve just a little bit more, so that you're able to show yourself that that previous limit was not your true limit. And then work at how you stretch a little bit more and stretch a little bit more. And that also works when it comes to things like weight loss. If you're not happy with where you're at, start small and prove to yourself that you can do it, and keep working at it, and you will be able to achieve more than what you ever thought you could before. Don't impose limits on yourself. Rather, do your best and figure out where your true natural best is by just stretching a little bit more today.